Actually, if you're listening to this, sorry. Times when we're together, I'm like, just calm down. So honestly, when you grow up like this, you just I mean, nobody was handing over anything to me, right? And I didn't like asking for help. It's not a typical Saturday. I'm trying to make Akara. Okay. So it's very different, but let's see how it goes.
Let's see, guys. Whenever you go abroad, going to people's house is like the premium flex because you eat what you don't usually eat.
Yeah.
For example, I probably only made Akara once since I came to this country.
Yes.
See me, I'm eating it again. If grit, resilience, and excellence could be a person, it would definitely be Funto. Funto and I were having a conversation, and you know what? I was like, you need to come on my channel and talk about this. You know what? One thing I've learned from discussing with her is the fact that God is always a leveler, regardless of how you start or where you started from. He would always lead you to your promised land, and He's a restorer of times. And you'll find out why more in this video.
I was born to a single mother because my parents never got married. So typically you would say I was born out of wedlock, but hey, and I always say I didn't have the same experiences as everyone. Not everyone had. I didn't have the luxury of a perfect family, of the father in the picture, but I'm always very grateful for my mother because the values that I needed to have, she gave me that. And growing up with my grandparents and then growing up with, my cousins, my aunt and my uncle really, really taught me, that sometimes life would not give you the perfect scenarios, but you should, make something out of yourself. So, of course, I finished primary school, went to secondary school. I went to 2 secondary schools, actually. I went to Yabatek secondary school, and then I went to Awesome College that I'm super grateful for. Shout out to any Awesome College person watching this. So before Awesome College, growing up and seeing these experiences that I had, I lived with my cousins. They had an amazing time. They were the amazing family that, I wished I had for so long. And I, for some reason, picked this prayer up when I was young. And I would always say, Lord, change the rules for my sake. And it was interesting because my mommy always asks, why do you pray this prayer, and where did you even pick this prayer from? But I kept praying, and I think the first expression of that prayer came in Awesome College. I joined Awesome College in 2020, Awesome College Ilupeju in 2008. Yeah, 2008 precisely. Mm-hmm. And I joined in year 9. But the rule in Awesome College from the onset, was that if you didn't join Awesome College from year 7, you can't become a prefect. I think it was just the rule, that they had. I joined in year 9, and in year 10, I became the hostel prefect. And that was interesting because everyone was like, oh, how come you became hostel prefect in just so little time? In year 11, I became head girl of the school.
Wow.
And that was amazing for me because I think that's when I really started seeing that at some point, life really gives you a level playing field. It doesn't matter if everybody had the first start or, the first journey or the first take on some situations. God really knows how to give everybody the same level playing field. And that just made me know that, Funmito, you have leadership traits in you, and you have so many things that, the world is waiting for.
So Funto's story emphasizes the backing of God. You see, if you have God in everything, there is no how you will be able to fall for anything. And regardless of, moving homes and not having an active parent, Funto has been able to rise above the ranks. And this just reassured me and, reassured others as well that you're not alone. God is with you.
Honestly, when I think about it, I think it was just God. I don't see any other way that I was able to overcome. The love was there, but every child will always sometimes think, why is it not me? Why don't I have this? Why do I have to come to another family? But I think it was just being grounded in God and God really held me. I think that's the only explanation I have.
As a teenager, how did you know about God? Like how were you so confident in saying God grounded you? Like from where to where?
So I heard this a lot when I was small, that our old woman in small skin. So many people said it, because they would say, how did you know that? What manner of wisdom is this? And at the time, I used to go to Fountain of Life Church, the late Pastor Bimbo Dukaya. I would listen to her messages, and I was very young, but I think, okay, so let's go back a bit. My mom had a job at Christ the Redeemer's College, Shagam, which is a Redeem school. She was the matron in the school, and I think maybe at the age of 4, I was the little child running around with the secondary school students, and they all liked me. But I think somehow unconsciously you hear things, you see things, and you experience things that maybe I didn't know was molding me at the time.
So your environment mentored you, basically.
Exactly. So I think unconsciously the environment mentored me. That's the perfect example to it. So growing up in that environment, just being with older people, because I didn't. Bless you.
The pepper was really peppering in this video. I couldn't even take it at some point. The pepper is choking me. Nigeria that you use like 5, 10.
That's the same reason you were choking when we're frying this. Because there was pepper in it. It's crazy. I don't like this so much.
Guys, this is how they used to make akara, which is called beans cake.
Exactly. So yeah, just put a bit of water, because it's different from moi moi. Moi moi needs to be watery.
I love the fact that Funto's experiences really grounded her, and this has really shaped her life form in every way, regardless of where she's living now. I love the fact that despite you have the will to, live this luxurious life of ordering food and not really bothering, the Nigerian is still in you.
It's still in me.
Very much in you.
You can take me out of Nigeria, but sometimes it sticks to you. But yeah.
Anyways, where were we? So we're talking about the fact that you would always play with.
Yeah, like the older, the students at the time, they're GS1 to GS3. And I was the youngest. Humorously, I digress. When I got to university, I met one of them in Covenant University.
Really?
And when he saw me, I think he was doing his master's, he's like, "You, this child!" I think I frustrated his life when he was in secondary school. He was like, "You, this child," and he was running. I'm like, dude, it's been years. That was interesting, because him seeing me and just recognizing me from when I was younger.
And when you were not even, how old were you?
I
was
like
secondary
6,
school.
Yeah. No, but he was way older. I can't remember if it was masters or he was just.
It just goes to say that the world is a small world.
It's a small world, yes.
And that sometimes, or a lot of times, right? Well, what you do matters a lot.
Yeah.
Like, Oyeka was saying the same thing. I don't. Sometimes I switch. I don't know that.
Yeah, don't worry.
Anyways,
I can't even.
This one mutual friends.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he met this guy.
Yeah.
He met Dami.
Okay, yeah.
He met Dami at a friend's party, right? Mm-hmm. But this was in Nigeria.
Yeah.
He didn't even recognize him. So, for example, if he was at that party and he was just messing himself up, and he now came to preach in Dami's church, that was just like, no,
you preach,
because at that time as well he was a pastor. Yeah. So he's like, guy,
small world.
You never know. You're very correct. And guys, don't be that friend that goes to a friend's house and don't help out.
I'm always just say, oh, don't worry.
Actually, it was her birthday yesterday. And
Happy birthday, Funmito! Happy birthday, Funmito!
Happy birthday, F Money. My favorite F Money.
And she was doing all the dishes. I'm like, this girl, she will not race like this.
I'm used to it. So yeah, where were we? So I grew up, in that environment, and when she left the environment, when she left Christ Redeemer's College, and then I stayed with my grandparents, and you know how it is when you stay with grandparents, you always hear those cheeky old people advice, don't do this, remember the child of who you are, and all of that. So I think maybe that's where I got it from. Mm-hmm. And I never for once felt disadvantaged. Did I feel bad? Sometimes, yes, because life was just different. I didn't have a father to maybe run to and say, let's have a conversation, right? I didn't have.
Were you living with both your grandparents?
Yes, I lived with both my grandparents, but my grandmother was always around. My grandfather shuttled between Ijebu-Ode, because he had a house there, and Lagos, and he also had a second wife. So that's why literally he would move. His routine was very simple: Mondays to Wednesday, Lagos; Thursday to Sunday, Ijebu.
Wife one, wife two.
Yeah, and
Different cities.
he did that for years. He always shuttled, but I'll remember maybe sometimes when I would go to school and maybe see something, I'm like, I come back and tell my grandma, oh, this person took this lunchbox today. She's like, yeah, let's go and buy it. Yes, she'll say, we'll do that so that someone does not deceive you outside that there's better life somewhere else, and come. Aww. So anything, if I say I saw something today, like, okay, if we can afford it, we'll buy it. And so I grew up with that mindset of, okay, we didn't have everything, but I was very content. And wearing this bracelet as well was for my grandparents. She always gave me gold bracelets from when I was young. So she would always give me, and I'm always walking around school with bracelets, and then this just stuck to me. So I always have,
It's amazing how we just pick up. But then, like, seeing how your grandparents were, and obviously your family life, did you hate marriage? Or
No.
Did you?
No. I would be truthful. At some point, I was scared of the idea, and I'll tell you why. My grandparents he had two wives, and I saw that he was kind to one and not so pleasant to the other. My mom didn't have a perfect life, marital life. So I think, and then at some point I was single. Of course, like what is throughout uni. Well, there were people, but I think the fear of just not getting it wrong made me not succumb to any of the relationships. So I wasn't in any relationship for 9 years. Yeah, because I'm just like, it looks like it does not mean it's it. So I was very careful in picking, and I think during my IT, I was just like, God, I'm actually scared not to make the wrong decision, not of the idea of marriage, because I'd seen some people's perfect example, but I'm like, if there's this trend, my grandma, my mom, I hope it's not going to come with me. And I think someone told me, bless you, sorry, someone told me, why do you think you share the same experience? And that doesn't mean it will happen to me exactly. And I think in that instance, I started praying about it, and life. Yeah, I then started hoping for a good relationship. And how did I meet this person? I'd been friends with this person since school, and he was going to a relationship. Like, yes, I knew him since 2012 in Covenant University. So so we're just friends, like super very close friends from school, because the unit I was in school shared the same office with the unit he was in school. I was in Sanctuary, and he was in the drama group.
Oh, sweetie.
Yes. So we're just friends. When we left school, still kept the relationship going. When I started working at CyberSoc, because of the business that they do, I then referred them to the company. And everything was chummy and nice. And I think one day, because we're very good friends, like if there was anybody that knew a lot about me, it was him. If I needed to rant about something, I would call him. And so one day, very interestingly, I was going to work. I was in an Uber, and I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, this is another year about to end, and I'm not in any relationship. What's going on? And the Holy Spirit was like, look around. No, the Holy Spirit asked me, what are your deal breakers? It was very easy. I'm like, okay, what are my deal breakers? Which was, what are the things that you must have that you can't trade, that must be, the person needs to have? And then we were having a conversation. And then the Holy Spirit he flashed in my mind. I'm like, no, now.
The guy flashed in your mind.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, now. He's just my friend. And then he had dated one of my friends in Covenant University. And you know how you just say, girl code, no, now. Let's not do this. And the person was one of my very close friends, But they had broken up, I think 3 years before this. To be fair, I wasn't the reason why they broke up.
Yeah.
You know, so
Clearly.
yeah, the Holy Spirit is like, that's not your battle. You know, I don't know why you're considering this. And yeah, and then we started talking, and I think before then I didn't think I would date him or anything. But after that conversation with the Holy Spirit, it became easier to think of the idea.
You said that it was respect. A lot of people will say that.
At the time, it wasn't.
So sometimes
At the time, it wasn't. Very truthfully, I was just very different. He's very down to earth, playful.
Let me ask you actually. Do you expect or not expect to be?
Respect develops, and I don't know. There are some of the things I would look at now, and I'm just like, why was I bothered about this? Because it's over time just evolved and changed, and it's not even. I have no
Like, say one thing that you were bothered about.
Okay, so Asha, if you're listening to this, sorry, but Asha is very loud.
You know, the first time I ever was I hated it. I not hated. I disliked it because I thought it was everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like you see people that are loud, you're like, babe, from where to where. So you too.
Yeah. He was very loud, and I'm just like, why must you be this noisy? And especially when he's with his crew, his friends.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of person. I'm more like,
same.
yeah. But if I'm with my friends, yes, we'll have fun, but I don't have to shout. And like, sometimes when we're together, I'm like, just calm down, just calm down.
So I'll do that like this.
Just calm down.
When she knows so much that took you,
Just you know. So that was one major, and I was like, it's too loud for me. But now, like, he's more reserved. Of course, when he's with his friends, he still gets super excited, but it's very different.
So just imagine if you cancelled him on that.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is very weird.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, now let's make our Akara.
Yes, so after blending, all I put was salt, no seasoning cube, nothing. Salt to taste and oil, and then we just fry. So I usually put this here so that it soaks up extra oil, you know, after frying. And yeah, so your akara should be, you know, firm enough to sit in the oil and not too thick. Just hoping I have the right using the right spoon. Yeah.
Okay, so while we're waiting for the Akara, so the question I had then was, because obviously you grew up in different, so you were not scared about marriage. You were just scared to not make it.
To not make a mistake. Yes, okay. Yes. And so I think this also made me have high standards. You know, just not anything fazed me. I had a family that loved me, you know, that gave me everything that I wanted when I wanted it. And my mom would say, so one man would not make you feel like, you know, there's something else somewhere.
Yeah.
You know. So about the love and everything, yes. Sometimes I'll feel like, oh, how I wish I could. You know how people just be like, I left school, I want to be able to talk to my father, give me candid advice and tell me what the next step is, or, you know, ride on my dad's network to get, you know, a job. All of those things were not there, right? Even through uni, my mom would give me money, but you would see people that had extra.
Yes.
In Covenant University, I sold makeup. I was a makeup artist, but at some point, you know, students liked, there was this brand, I don't know if you guys remember, it was by Slick. I think once, yeah, but there was this, no, it was even Slick, but there was this lipstick that was dark. Can't remember the name. No, even Ruby Woo was a trend at some point.
I got Ruby Woo. I was so happy.
Yes, Ruby Woo was something. And that lipstick, maybe I bought it for 1,000. I was a Slick distributor. I bought it for 1,005.
Oh, you were a Slick distributor?
Yeah, because the lady that taught me makeup was also, so she made me one.
You're really the hustling.
So honestly, when you grow up like this, you just, I mean, nobody was handing over anything to me, right? And I didn't like asking for help, you know what I mean? So I was like, Funmito, you need to make it work for yourself. So, you know, that, yeah, I bought it for maybe 1,005 and I will sell it for 3,500. Wow. So I was making, and I sold maybe more than The shapes are a bit awkward, but I sold more than 50 of those lipsticks that semester.
That's pocket money.
That was pocket money, right? So now I don't know how we got here, but
so back to it. So like now, obviously you've graduated from uni and everything. How do you think? And there's something that you said during the video. Funny enough, when I was recording an intro outside, I said God is a leveler. So you said here that God is a leveler. So taking back to your stewardship season, right? Because I know you mentioned that we were an EA for someone that is popular, someone we all know, and somebody who was your friend.
Yeah, she was.
How was it like being an EA? Like you graduated, you're now come and do executive assistant for someone that you know.
Well, so before I talk about this and hold this thought, another situation of God being stewardship. In Covenant University, I was in Sanctuary Unit.
Yeah.
Right. And in Sanctuary Unit, there was a lot to be done. So I was always in chapel. I was always trying to do things, around there. And I know my classmates would always say then that, Fumito, why are you always in chapel? Are you the only one? If someone comes to look for me in my room and they say, where's Fumito? Check chapel, she'll be there. And it started seeming like they were mocking me, at the time for serving God. That semester, it was the semester where I got a 5 points.
Really? Hey, 5 points.
That semester was the semester that I got a 5 point, and just not me. Success is in we. If you're here, I think she's now Success Oyeshola.
So serving God, because sometimes in school,
and that was the difference.
You serve God with wisdom.
That was
the day that I did semester. I did not serve God with wisdom. I was I service. Some particular units. That was my CGP, my drop. I mean, it was still above like 1 point, but it dropped.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, nah, I can't. When Papa was saying, you can't be serving God and not. So I'm like, nah, I have to do this thing, right? And the next time that I did, oh my God, like it's skyrocketed.
It would, stewardship cannot be. And I think that was the change for me. My classmates, I'll be like, they're in chapel. It changed because they're like, we're in chapel. But they saw the results of us being.
You would also read in chapel,
of course.
Like you would always. Chapel was a very nice place. To read.
So I would say, if we're talking about stewardship, that for me showed that, like, if you mind God's business, He will mind your business. Of course, it doesn't take away the place of responsibility and just the action, as Oyenka preached yesterday. But just know what you're supposed to be doing part time and do the right thing. After I graduated from Covenant University, I worked with construction for a while, and then I had arthritis that took any joints, either my fingers, my toes, and it started getting worse. So I couldn't be as active as I'd love to be on site. And so this big auntie, as we'll call her, put up an opening that, she's looking for someone to assist her with everyday, things as an EA. But she wanted maybe someone that just finished school, that had not gone on NYSC. At this time, I had finished NYSC and I was working. But, I had to stop work. And so I wrote my application. I sent it to her. Why did I go through that part? I knew her. We had a good relationship. She was friends with one of my friends as well that I could have gone through. But I said, you know what? I want it to be on merit. Yes. And so I applied. I got the job, and I was at EA for I think 4 months.
And it's funny because it was because you were sick. It was a sickness that
it
was a sickness that literally took you that route.
It was a sickness that took me that route, honestly.
So some people would have been rejected and be like, God, you are forsaking me.
Yeah.
I know I was alone, but this one has made me lonely.
Yeah. But in that sickness, I remember telling God one day, I'm like, God, please, you need to help me.
It was like a redirection.
Yeah, it was a redirection.
So, from being an EA then, you mentioned that you looked at being an EA of a top company.
Yeah, so from being an EA with her, some friend called me and said, you know what, I'm doing this job, but I don't know if I want to do it for long, but I think it's the kind of thing that you would do well, since you're in between jobs now.
So how did people know that?
Because I wasn't quiet about it. So, she was a family friend as well. So my mom was just telling everybody that knew that, Fumito is out of a job, if you know some other area that she can work in, please let us know. And I was just sending my CV, to everybody.
And you were not quiet. Were you ashamed? Were you quiet about that? The fact that you were an executive assistant, or you don't always say it?
If anybody asked, I would tell you, but I don't recall for once that I was ashamed of it.
Okay.
Like if you wanted to know, I would say, but I don't recall that I would say I was ashamed of the experience. It's coming out well.
Yeah. Okay, so back to now when you're now working as an EA
for this company. So I did it. I started out, and of course, just book flights, book meetings, the basic of the basics. But I think in doing all of this, I just knew that wherever you find yourself, let your light shine and let people know that there's someone different in the room. I was an EA, but I never dressed very basic to the office. I always dressed like I was the top shot. I would wear my nice dress, my heels, and yeah. So also just dress like what you want, and as you say, speak what you want, and
dress like your future.
Exactly.
Like the thing Papa used to say, that he look at himself. Does a kid go out like
this?
Yeah.
And I did all of that, and it was opened up policy. So I realized that a few times I would walk up to my boss and just be like, oh, I have this idea. There's a look and feel for the office. Oh, the website needs to look in a different way. Just saying things, and they'll be like, oh, can you do it? I'm like, yeah, let me try and work on it. And I'll write the copy, I'll write all of that. But before this, because I was doing the EA thing well, it then promoted me to admin officer. So I then started handling like more things about the company, on a bigger scale. From admin officer, I then became operations manager. So of course, still under admin, but doing a lot more.
Yeah.
From operations manager, then I had this conversation with my boss that's like, Fumito, do you know that you're actually doing marketing? And I'm like, oh, I don't think so. I did it, and I felt like, actually, I should be paid for this a lot more than I currently have. And I had a negotiation with him, and he's like, oh, Fumito, I taught you everything you know, so I can't pay you what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And I think it was in that moment I'm like, I never want to have this kind of feedback about the work that I do, or a negotiation in my life. So I called CIM, Chartered Institute of Marketing, and asked them, how much is it to get certified in marketing? They told me, for level 4, it was about 500,000 for the 3 modules. I said, okay, and I paid. And I did the certification, I got certified, and the conversation changed, because now, I had friends in the industry. I started putting my work out there a lot more. And the next time we had a negotiation, long story short, it was way different from the first time, because he understood that, okay, yes, I taught her, but like, she's done more. I didn't ask the company to pay, because I'm like, no, I want something for myself. And yeah, I think that's how it changed. So from operations manager, I became marketing manager at the companies, because I started managing marketing front. And from there, I then led all the marketing efforts. So head of marketing, and then I left. Cybersoft.
You mentioned that you guys said
Yes, so if I can find the clip, I would share with you.
Yeah.
He was red, and then he said, the soul of the company is leaving.
Wow.
And that this is the perfect story of, just moving from nothing to becoming so important and so big in a company. And that was very emotional for me to know that I started as an EA, left handling all the marketing efforts, and
so how did you move from there to Google?
At the 5-year mark, thank you. At the 5-year mark, I knew that I needed to leave the company, right? And then I started applying for so many jobs.
Okay.
But as you know, you'll get a lot of rejections here and there. And I got the rejections.
See, and despite all the rejections, Funto's resilience, God's perfect timing, and preparation really begets opportunity. She ended up landing a job at Google.
Yeah, so I got the offer in 3 weeks, and the work permit came out in 3 weeks as well. The visa 3 weeks, and I'm like, no, maybe God is telling me something about threes in this season.
You know what, from being an EA to now working in a global tech firm like Bogo, it just goes to say that regardless of your background, you can still soar. And by the way, the Akara band, contact Much Haven for yours.
Today's video is a testament to the fact that God is never late. He's always on time. His ways might not be our ways. His thoughts might not be something that we will comprehend, but he's a leveler. He's always on time. And it just goes to show how someone practically stewarded her season to the point where she's now working in one of the big 4 tech companies.
But let me know what you learned. One lesson that you learned.
And please do like, share, comment, subscribe.